Alright, hey guys, Ronin Man here, out of the pool, early morning, freaking just loving it, feeling great. Just got off the exercise bike. I'm gonna get some, I got a little swim in, but I'll get some more swimming in here in a bit. Today I want to talk about health and how it's so important for anybody who wants to be independent and be a Ronin Man. This is no joke. This might be the most important part of being independent. And being not unblackmailable, like I said in my very first video, which got a lot of great feedback. Right? So, unblackmailable. How do you become unblackmailable? You become unblackmailable because there's nothing. You're not dependent on anybody else for anything. Okay, and you might have a lot of friendships and a lot of relationships and a very good social life. And you might actually, being unblackmailable actually makes you have a better social life, because the thing is that you're not dependent on people. And who likes anybody who's leeching off of them, right? Nobody. But people love independent people who blow into town, who are a lot of fun, who add value, who, have new ideas, who just come into town, don't need anything, And these are the kind of people, these are the kind of people that you want to partner with and you want to help, right? So one of the big things is health. And I want to take this with a different attitude. Basically, you know me, anybody's listening to this channel, fuck conventional wisdom. I don't want to talk about anything that's been, endlessly repeated anywhere else. So I want to really I want to tell you what my spin is. And the reason why is because I personally don't think that anybody else has it completely right. And of course, that sounds very proud and all that. But hey, anybody who's an adventurer, anybody who discovers new things, that's what you think. It's like, fuck, no one has got this right yet. Right? How is the iPhone made, right? It's because nobody fucking got it right. And then Steve Jobs is like software, applications, and this is going to make the difference. And it kicked ass over all the Japanese cell phones, which were way advanced to the iPhone in the beginning. But he saw something new, and he saw it his own way. So here's my thing about health, and here's how I stay healthy. I keep myself in good shape, and I'm not psycho. Okay, I live a regular life. I eat every meal out. I fucking travel like crazy. I have a great time. I'm very social. I don't have any you know what I mean? I'm not the guy in the corner, the fucking vegan who's like, hey, I won't eat this, I can't eat that, and complaining all the time and forcing everybody to go eat whatever he wants and all that. I'm not into that, right? I'm into I'm really, one of my big values is being normal. And I mean in that in the sense that fitting in with society and having friends is one of the most important things you can do for your mental health and for your just basically enjoying life, right? And obviously they've proven it now that one of the biggest things that causes young old people to die is being depressed, right? Having no fucking friends, right? So how do you have no fucking friends? You be an asshole, right? So I recommend not being an asshole, and food is a big part of that, because if you're too strict about food, what happens is you can't go anywhere, breakfast, lunch, or dinner with people without being an asshole and pissing people off, even if they don't tell you directly, right? So it's like that balance in life, right? It's how to stay it's like you want to be fucking healthy, you want to fucking save money, you want to be minimalist, you want to have you want to stay true to your values while you're out. At the same time as that you fucking want to be out, right? You want to meet people, you want to meet girls, you want to fucking go do shit, right? So that's a big part of it. So let's talk about health and the absolute paramount importance of being a Ronin man and health, right? I'm healthy as fuck. I don't even go to the doctor. The last time I went to the doctor was the dentist. I had my teeth cleaned about 15 months ago. I got to do it again. I should do it every 6 months, but I just haven't done it lately. I got a friend coming in town today, so I'm probably not actually, but I should go get my teeth cleaned today. But I just basically keep myself so healthy that I don't have insurance. I don't go to the doctor very rarely. And basically, if you're listening to this looking for middle of the road advice, you know what I mean? You're looking for me to be socially, whatever, fit into some box. Basically, you're not listening to the right channel. I'm telling you what I think the truth is from my perspective. And it's the way I think, okay? And it's what I found out from my real life and from living a fucking great life. So here's my take on health, is that one, it's the number one thing. If you want to be freaking independent, okay, you want to be Ronin man, if you can't walk up a mountain like Mount Fuji, if you can't climb Mount Fuji, if you can't climb the Rockies without a break and hardly a sweat, how the fuck are you going to get about life? Seriously, how the hell are you going to get around, man? Most countries don't even have cars. You know, you don't even, like, cars are not common. Like, they have cars, but they're more like for delivering stuff and things like that. You gotta walk, man. Most countries, you gotta freaking walk. If you have a car, it's more of a luxury status symbol in a lot of countries, most countries, I would say, around the world. And so what happens is people walk, right? So you gotta be able to fucking walk. You gotta be able to move. You gotta be able to pick up, you gotta be able to carry shit too, right? If you're walking, guess what? You don't have a trunk. You don't got a car. You gotta fucking walk, right? So you gotta be able to walk, you gotta climb a mountain, you gotta be able to fuck a girl pretty well, give her a decent route. And I don't care if you're 67 years old, I still say the same fucking thing. You gotta be able to do these things, otherwise you're gonna be a failure as a Ronin man, right? Now, I'm not saying anybody who comes into this in the beginning is gonna have all these things. I'm saying, like, long term, if you focus on the right things, shit goes right for you, okay? And you got to start somewhere, right? A journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And that's not a motivational saying, that's the absolute truth. You got to take that first step. And the first step is getting on board with people who kind of like are in the same mindset as you and have same limitations, same possibilities as you, right? And the same mindset, what they think is important, right? So, okay, so what I do with health, I'm going to put a video link below, and I don't think it's perfectly right, but it's pretty decent. It's a guy talking about, you know, diabetes, and I watched it this morning, actually. I got jet lag, so I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, so I watched this video, and it was pretty good, you know. I don't agree with his thing about meat. I think meat is all right, but you know, the way I look at health research is kind of like the way I look at people's opinions on Yelp, okay, with just a little bit more seriousness depending on the level of research. But basically, when you read a Yelp review, like let's say you read TripAdvisor review, let's say for example of a beach, right? It says it's a good beach. That doesn't mean it's the best beach in the world. That doesn't mean it's always going to be a good beach. It doesn't mean it's never going to change. It just means that some dude out there, if it's not a fake review, thinks it's a good beach, right? And I think that's the way you got to think about health advice, because what a lot of people do when they're trying to get it healthy is they read something, they implement it perfectly, right? They're all serious about it, and then it doesn't work, and then they say, oh, fuck this health shit. This is all bullshit. Nobody tells the truth. It all changes all the time. You know, like there's no point in it, and they get all depressed and they get all bummed out, right? That you cannot be a basically adolescent idiot if you want to be Ronin man. You got to be able to, one, you got to see through the crap, right? And the more truth you accept in your life and the more bullshit that you reject, the easier that's going to be for you. But the other thing you got to do is you got to be able to go with the flow. Things change. Research, you know, starts with one thing. Times change. Somebody figures out something else. You know, like if you look at science, the history of science, and you know, we didn't know everything in the 1600s. And we don't know everything now, but we're finding out more stuff all the time. And that's the way you got to think about your health. You got to man up on this one. I know some people don't like the word man up. I like it. But you got to man up and say, okay, I'm going to read. I'm going to implement ideas that make sense with my budget, with my schedule. And at the same time, I'm still open. If I'm completely wrong, I'm going to change again, right? It's okay. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to change again. In fact, that's what's probably going to happen. And you're going to have little tweaks, and you might even have big tweaks, right? Big changes, right? So the way I do my eating-wise stuff is I basically I don't eat like a regular person, I would say. You know, for example, if I'm going out to eat, like I just went to North America, right? Just got back from North America, and basically food sucks in North America. It's so bad, like. Oh my God, I was in America, I was in Canada, and like the food was like, all the food out was so unhealthy. I just was really shocked. I'm so glad to be back in Bangkok in Asia, you know, to be honest. You know, like there was just so much fattening crap. I had a meal with a good friend of mine out, and you know, he had his Japanese wife with him, and you know, we knew each other from Japan, and I said something like, let's go out and eat something, and then she said, yeah, you know, here in Canada, like the food is, you know, like whatever you eat out, it's going to be unhealthy basically, because they might have something healthy and they're going to pour some crap on top of it, like a bad dressing or some kind of bullshit. And I was like, I looked at her so depressed, and it was the same kind of feeling people have in China when they talk about the air pollution. You know, it's like no matter what you do, you got to breathe that shit, you know. And That's what I see about restaurants. So how do you solve that, right? How do you stay positive? How do you deal with it? Be normal, be social, go out, and also eat healthy. How the hell do you do that? What I do is, if I'm going out, and I'll test a restaurant once, like I went out with my friends, and I ate a regular meal, and it was pretty crap. I mean, even like the burrito had mayonnaise in it. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was like the most fattening garbage thing that should never be in a burrito that made it taste terrible. Was mayonnaise, but they had it in a fucking burrito in Canada, and I was like, okay, I tried this and it didn't work, so I'm not going to do it again. So the next time, if I go out with them, next time I go visit, I'm going to eat first. So I might take a walk, I might have something in my backpack, I might have them stop and pick up a sandwich on the way. You know, my goal of going out is not to eat together, it's to spend time together. Okay, that's the way I look at eating out. It's like I'm spending time with my friend. Okay, I'm not responsible. I'm not. What do you call it? Like, I don't have to eat what they eat. So what I'll do is I'll sneak some food in before I leave. So, you know, I might grab a sandwich on the way, like I said, or I might have some. Like, for example, I might leave like a bag of oatmeal in my bag. Like what I like to do. I like to have something like a bag of raw garlic, a bag of oatmeal. Things like that, I can just have it in my bag. They don't get spoiled very easily, and they fill you up nicely, and they're very healthy. Garlic doesn't get old very fast. Takes quite a long time to get old, at least a week before you can eat it. You know, just getting those green, what do you call it? They start growing those green little stems in it. Until then, you know, it's fine. So even with the green stems, actually, it's still healthy, but it's just not as good for you, I think. So I try to get the more fresh garlic, but I'm pretty flexible with that. I just have something in my bag. If there's an emergency, if I'm just hungry and there's just shit around me and there's nothing good to eat, I'm just gonna go ahead and eat it. I'm gonna go get some water and I'm gonna eat the oatmeal just like that, stick it in my mouth, let it get a little bit soft, a few seconds, 5 seconds, whatever, start munching it down, have a few cloves of garlic, and I basically got myself a solid snack. And if I'm really starving, I'll have several mouthfuls, you know, 10 mouthfuls, and I'll be like almost like a whole meal. But what that does is, at a cost of almost nothing, it allows me to fill up with some really good healthy stuff. And also, I can do it very quick. So if I have to, let's say I have it in my backpack, I can just go quickly to the bathroom. And you know, let's say it's an extreme situation. We're going to the club or something like that. I don't want to be a bother to everybody I'm with. I'm just going to secretly go do this. This is what I do. I'm just going to get my healthy food in any fucking way I can. And I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. So I go to the bathroom, boom, 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 3 mouthfuls of oatmeal, 2 fucking cloves of garlic. I feel full. I feel great. I feel good about myself. And once again, I navigated the social world and avoided the pitfalls. Because then when we go eat and everybody's eating French fries and a sundae, I basically just have like a cup of coffee or something like that, right? Because I'm already pretty full. I'm not really hungry. And a lot of times when you eat crap, it's just because you're hungry, right? It's not because you actually want crap, right? So that's a little snack. That's a little secret that I do, is I kind of carry around food. So if I was driving, I'd have a car, I'd have my trunk, I'd have some stuff in it. Just some stuff that doesn't get old. Just like I can always shove it down my throat. And we're talking some very good shit. And the reason why I go for the more extreme good shit, because I think oatmeal is very good for you, and so is raw garlic. The reason why I go for the extreme is because if that's all I have in my car and I have time, or in my bag, I'm going to eat that. It's just that simple. Okay, I don't have time to go shopping. I'm just going to eat that. So you want to work with your human nature rather than against it. Okay, so if you have crap in your house, you're going to eat crap. Okay, so for example, I had this maid, right? I got this maid right now. She comes in and cleans my room, right? And the other day, she started giving me candy and like little Thai sweets. And she was trying to be nice, but I was like, hey, you know, I don't really eat sweets. I'm not really into garbage. I do eat chocolate ice cream, by the way, but I don't like just randomly eat sweets. I'm not into it. And I said, hey, I don't need this. And she was like she really forced me. So I was like, okay, I wasn't ready for it. So I was like, okay, so I ate them. Then she came back the next day and gave me sweets again. And I was like, no, really, I don't want this. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't want this. I don't eat sweets. I tried to give it back to her, but she didn't speak English. So she gave me the thing and she left it on my bed. So, okay. So I left it in my room and I thought, you know, if you have this shit around, you're going to eat it. And so I didn't eat it for like a week. And then I went back overseas. I was traveling for 3 weeks. I came back, and then it's like a jet lag. It's like 3 in the morning. I'm starving to death. I look at the sweets, and I finally ate the package of sweets. So it just proves my basic thesis or premise, my premise that you don't want to have shit food around, because if you got shit food around, you're going to eat shit food. Okay, it's that simple. So force yourself, use your human nature as a leverage to eat good food. And how you do that is when you buy stuff, you only buy good stuff, like really good stuff, and leave that in your house. Like really bare bones good shit, so that when you're hungry and you're lazy, like you get at home, right? You just eat whatever's there, and you're like, oh, I wish I had this or that, but you don't have it, so you eat it, and you're happy. Okay, so don't force yourself to always have to make a big, like a big, to-do about eating. Make it easy on yourself, and make it super, super healthy. So there's a couple things you can do. Is one is you can have, my mom never had garbage in our house, right? And she taught me this when I was a kid. And so she only had healthy food, period. We never had ice cream. We never had anything in the house. The only sweet we had was graham crackers, which, if you know that, it's not even hardly a sweet. And I tell you, I really learned something about that, because I'd find myself starving to death, going to the refrigerator when I was a kid, and I'd be looking at my mom like, why don't we have like shit like Fruit Loops and stuff like everybody else has? And my mom would just like smile, and they'd be like an avocado, so I'd eat an avocado, right? And I'd eat an orange. And then I'd realize, oh, I feel pretty good. I'd be pretty full. And then I'd stop complaining, I was a kid, right? But I learned that is the key, is that it's that moment of weakness. All you have is something healthy. That's all you got to do. So same thing when you're going out to eat, is before you go, you have this in your bag, you have this carried around, you got it in your house, it's in your car, and so that before you go out to eat some shit food, which you don't even know if it's going to be shit for sure, but you're kind of sure because most people, that's what they eat. So you just have your little snack, boom, 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 you go out, you have a great social time, and your friends are like, oh, you're not that hungry. Oh, it's like, yeah, I had some food before I came. And they're like, oh, cool, okay, well, I'm starving, and they eat a bunch of garbage, and you don't. And so that's how you kind of stealthily navigate the food world, both in your house by only having good food, and in your social life by always having that secret snack that you can always shove down your gullet and go out and have a great time and be normal and hang out with your friends and go to the clubs and go to the restaurants, and you'll still have a little bit of an appetite, right? So you can eat, you can have some sashimi, right? You can have, if you want to have a steak, you can have a steak, right? But you don't have to have all the crap with it, because you've basically eaten some stuff already. And if the food is terrible, if it's really bad, if it's some, really terrible restaurant like Denny's, then you can just have a couple of eggs, boiled eggs and some coffee, and then you're good, because you already had some food. So there's a couple of sneak things that you can do for your health. And I hope that you understand that if you're not healthy, there's no way you're going to be Ronin man, okay? There's just no way. You can't be independent. You can't travel. You can't, live the hard life that you live as an independent guy. What you're going to want to be is you're going to be lazy. You're going to be a mangina. You're going to have some woman taking care of you, making food for you, making it easy on you. And you know what that leads to? That leads to fucking destruction, because you become dependent on the woman. And I never, ever, ever want to be dependent on a woman, especially. I don't want to be dependent on a guy either, but especially on a woman. So I never need women. I love women, and they love me, but I'm never dependent. I don't need them to wash my clothes. I don't need them to clean my room. I don't need them to help me pick out my whatever I buy. I don't need them to be with me when I travel. I don't need them to comfort me. I've got tons of friends. Now, I love women, and I love all these things I'm talking about. A woman that can cook is lovely. I really love. A Thai woman recently, she made a nice dinner. It was lovely. It was beautiful. I went to a friend's house. We had a beautiful dinner. It was felt like Easter. It was lovely. It was great, but I didn't need it. It was just an addition to my life. And very easily, if I didn't have it, I would have been totally happy and totally comfortable. So I got the maid. I don't need anybody to clean. I got a minimalist life. So if she doesn't clean, it doesn't even matter. I just randomly got this maid because, she's cheap and all that. But I don't need it. I don't even need that. I don't even want to need things that I pay for, to be honest. I want my life to be so simple and minimal that I'm happy with the way it is. Basically, I don't need much maintenance, you know. Whether I'm paying for the maintenance or I'm doing the maintenance myself or I'm having some girl who's doing the maintenance for me, you know. Avoid these entanglements, avoid needing people. Nobody likes to be like needed or depended on you. Nobody likes that. People like freedom. Girls like freedom. You know that song, Girls Just Want to Have Fun? That's fucking true. Girls want to have a good time. They want a guy who gives them a good root, gives them a good laugh, is a dependent, strong, independent guy who can take care of himself, who makes them feel confident, makes them feel good, makes them feel safe, you know? And the way you do that is by being a fucking man, being a stud, and doing the things that you need to do to stay in that mode. And I mean regardless of your age. Don't give me this age thing. I'm 52 and my life is as good as it's ever been. And like I said, I don't even, you know, I mean, knock on wood, I could have, you know, I could, you know, get hit by a bus tomorrow, but right now in my life, I keep myself healthy. I make good decisions. When I have something that I need to get out of my life, I get rid of it. I make the tough decisions. So one of the things I did recently was, you know, actually I don't want to go into that one. No, that's a private one. But yeah, I make tough decisions for my life, and I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, and I think that's a really big thing. And I know, you know, to be a Ronin man, you really have to be able to admit that you don't know everything and that you can be wrong, and you can make a big change in your life. And that's what's going to be. It's going to be like a series of waking up and realizing you're wrong again and making a decision about where you want to be, who you want to be, how you want to be, and then going about the radical change that it takes to get to that new stage, right? So that's what it's all about. And it takes a lot of other friends because you need smart friends. You need smart people around you. If you got a bunch of dumb people around you just eating crap food and talking crap, stupid conversation, you know, sending fucking fake science articles to you, you know, posting things on your Facebook that are just like, you know, waste your time and are not true and not vetted. You don't need a bunch of stupid people around you. And, you know, to be smart, you got to start to see, you got to start to, it's almost like purify your life. So imagine you're trying to, you've dug up a bunch of dirt and you're trying to purify it down to gold. Let's say you're not a goldsmith, you're just a regular guy like us, right? And you're like cleaning off the rocks, and then you're heating it up and you're looking at the gold and you're separating it, right? And you're figuring out a way to like get it down just to the pure gold as best you can, right? That's what you got to do with your life. So anything that doesn't fit, so let's say you have like 3 electronic devices, right? Let's say you have like an iPad, you got a MacBook, you got a phone, right? You got a Pixel. You start to think, well, what am I using in my life? What do I need in my life? And then you realize, I haven't used the iPad for like 2 years. It's like, fuck this iPad. You know what I mean? I'm never getting an iPad again. You know, unless they change and get more, you know, better for work. And then you say, okay, I don't need an iPad anymore, and give it away to somebody, right? Same with your clothes. You start to get rid of the clothes you don't want. Food, you start to purify down to the key things that you need. And as you do that, what will happen is your taste buds, your expectations, and your satisfaction will also change along with that. So the last thing I want to say is, if you're going to make any kind of these radical dietary changes, what will happen is your first result, your first reaction is going to be like, oh man, this tastes like cardboard, or this tastes terrible. But again, remember, first reaction is not the same as a long-term feeling, right? So if you've got something that's wrong or bad that you're doing, long-term, you know that you feel bad, right? You feel like crap, right? But anything that's like just takes getting used to. So for example, eating healthy food is like, you just start to eat it, and at first it doesn't taste good, but you know, after a couple weeks, it starts to feel good, and you start to feel good, right? So don't go on the short term, go on the long term, right? Exercise might not feel great the first day, but after a while, right, doing yoga, after like 3 weeks, you'll start to realize, hey, this is pretty cool stuff, and you'll start to feel better about it, and it'll start to be easier for you, and the short-term effect will wear off, and the long-term effects will start to come in, and that's when you realize, oh, I made a good decision, right? So don't let these short-term things, you know, fuck the short-term stuff, barrel through that short-term stuff, get to the longer mid-term stuff, and that's when you start to make good decisions in your life about health, the time you spend on things, the things that you buy, the things you have in your life, your personal possessions as far as being a minimalist. And just, you know, I mean, I hate the word minimalist because I just think, what the fuck do you need, right? Like, what do I need to run my business online? What do I need to dress cool? What do I need to be to be healthy? What do I need to travel? What do I need to have good friends? What do I need to be safe, right? And it's when you start to purify down to the things that you need. So it's not like minimalist. Minimalist is like some girl, I don't know if you read that book, there's a Japanese girl, she wrote a book recently about cutting out things. And that's great and everything. And her girly ideas about cutting things out is great and everything. But I think about more as a purification. You're not cutting stuff out that's just to cut it out. You're cutting it out because you realize, this, I don't need this. I don't use this. You know what I mean? It's not like you're not cutting things out. You're just like realizing that the stupidity of eating this crap and how it's just like, you never wanted it in the first place. You never used it. And then you say, well, obviously I want to cut this shit out, right? It's like you find yourself telling jokes that aren't funny. And then you say, what am I doing? This is not funny. This is not benefiting me in any way. So what am I going to do when I find out something that's not working, that's stupid? I cut it out, okay? So it's not like minimalist. It's looking always for value. It's looking deeply at how you use things and how they benefit you, right? That's how you find the things that you really need, right? And you might find, instead of having, like, say, 3 devices, you might have 1 powerful device or 2 powerful devices, right? Instead of having a bunch of crap in your house, right? Well, and also cutting out and purifying your life also allows you to travel and to pick up and move, which is another key thing, because the ability to move is like it's like that. We're going to talk about that in another episode, but that is a fucking absolute key thing if you want to be Ronin, man, and you want to be free and you want to live this life to the maximum enjoyment. You got to see more of life. You got to do more of life. You got to meet more people. You got to see more things. You got to experience more things, eat more things, see more girls, climb more things, and then you'll start to realize that there's a lot more choices out there than you knew in the first place. Right? That's where a lot of happiness comes from, is by experiencing these new things and trying them out. So, the health episode. This is a kind of a early health one. I'd like you to write anything down that you have any questions, anything that didn't make any sense, right? So we're cutting out, we're purifying, right? How much stuff really helps you? What is really good for you? You know, what does your body really need? Your body, if you look at poor people around the world, they always eat things like cabbage. They eat things like sweet potatoes. They eat things like garlic. They eat things like, let's see what else, beans. They eat things like pumpkin. You know, they eat things like broccoli. You know, so you don't need, I think one of the myths is that you need endless variety in food. And that's not really the case in my experience. You do need variety, and variety is an absolute essential part of health and getting the right vitamins. But, like, let's say the difference between 2 types of fruit is not exactly the kind of variety that is that important, right? But vegetables, having a lot of vegetables, that's important. Having the mainstay, the important ones. The ones that have all the vitamins, the B12, the potassium, the shit that you really need to be healthy and to have strong muscles, right? So keep it simple, and don't let your human nature fuck you over, right? So there you go. There's the health one. I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm going to do one more swim and maybe get out and have some food. All right, take it easy, guys.